Infinity War is finally here. There's so much to talk about. Let's just do it. Infinity War is a Marvel film that was directed by the Russo brothers and is starring a ton of people that I'm not even going to try to list. There's a lot to talk about in this movie. Let's start off with some of the things that I didn't like, and then we can move into the things that I really enjoyed. I am surprised to say this, but I think one of the most hyped things about this movie is probably one of the things that I dislike the most. This film really teaches me why movies don't have this many characters. It is impossible, close to impossible, to have a movie that the normal person can follow along with and have this many characters. There are so many different storylines that you need to be aware of, and a lot of inside jokes that you need to be aware of. Kind of a lot of moments that you just need to assume, okay, this is happening. And I mean, that's good and bad. This movie is geared towards someone who has watched all of these movies, because there's just so much to follow along with that if you hadn't watched the other movies, there's no way that you could follow along. And I think that's why I dislike this. Another thing that I dislike is that this is supposed to be a universal event. Everybody is going to be affected by what Thanos is going to do, and there is not even a mention of the TV characters. I think that's a mistake. I mean, you've already mashed together all of these different characters. Why not at least mention the Defenders? Why not at least mention them? I don't want to get stuck on this, though, because there is more that I enjoyed about this film than disliked. So let's move on to that. Number one is the cohesiveness of all of these different characters. I've heard some of the reviews talk about some moments felt out of character. I didn't feel that way about anything. I am going to go watch this again, but I don't remember a moment that I thought, that doesn't feel like this particular character. To me, that's an incredible feat, because you have a lot of different characters that are written by many different writers, and yet you have them all in this movie and they feel kind of at home. The different pairings that they did of, for example, Thor with the Guardians, Iron Man with Doctor Strange, worked really well, and they wrote these characters very well. So I think that provides a cohesiveness to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It makes it feel like it's all one thing run by one kind of person. And I mean, I guess it kind of is, with Kevin Feige being, the producer on all of these things. Yeah, I think they did an excellent job of that. A lot of Marvel films have not done a good job of having a great villain, and this movie does an exceptional job. Thanos has been teased up for years now, and I think he lived up to the hype. This movie felt like there was no hope. This movie felt like the Avengers were against the wall, and you didn't quite know where or how they were going to get out of this. And quite honestly, I still don't know how they're going to get out of this. And I think that is a testament to the writing of this film. Thanos is menacing. He is truly scary. There are a lot of these comic book films where you think, everything's going to be okay in the end. It always is. This is not one of them. Things are not okay at the end of the movie. And I think that's refreshing. Thanos is really, really powerful and is played superbly by Josh Brolin. This film doesn't feel overly dark, but it does feel like there are real stakes. And I think that's important. Something that I think is really well done in this film is how local the fight feels. And that seems to be at odds with what the stakes are, right? Because what Thanos is planning to do could have a universal impact. And yet, it doesn't always feel like all of these, innocent people are being hurt and killed for no obvious reason. The fight is in a lot of different places, and I like that. As with all good villains, there needs to be a motivation for why someone does the things that they do, or why they think about things the way that they think about it. In this movie, it is very well explained why Thanos feels the way that he feels. While it's definitely not a sentiment that I think we can agree with, at least you understand why it is that he's doing what he's doing, and maybe you can kind of understand what's going on in his brain. I think one thing that is done very well is the way that they establish the relationship that he has with Gamora, and how that affects him when he has to sacrifice her to get the Soul Stone, which is, it pulls on your heartstrings big time. So let's talk about how this movie ends. This movie ends with a bunch of characters just fading into dust. The ending of this movie is somber and abrupt and leaves you on a cliffhanger. As sad as it kind of is, I mean, man, when Spider-Man tells Tony that he doesn't want to go, again, another moment where that will pull at your heartstrings. But I think it's very well done. I don't think it would have been a good idea to have all of these characters in another movie. I think that the fact that they have kind of temporarily removed a lot of these characters so that they don't have to worry about them in Avengers 4 is a very smart move. There are too many characters in this movie, and because of that, you don't get a lot of great character moments. I mean, they tried, but it's just impossible to give each character a moment when you have this many in a movie. This movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes, and that's still not enough time to give service to all of the characters that are in it. So I think it's a wise decision to try to get rid of some of these characters so that they can just focus on the core of the Avengers in Avengers 4, and they can introduce, someone like Captain Marvel, which is going to be introduced in her own movie next summer and then is going to be in Avengers 4. I love that they established that Shuri is smarter than both Bruce Banner and Tony Stark combined. But I almost feel a love-hate relationship with that particular scene because I feel like it's a great character moment that ends up being for nothing. Shuri isn't able to finish what she started, and the Vision ends up dying anyway. I'm so sad that they got rid of Vision, but I understand he's kind of overpowered, so I really enjoyed the Vision. And this kind of goes into another one of my things. There are a few moments where you just kind of have to know that things are going on the way that they're going on. We only got a few minutes of a romance between Wanda and the Vision before he ends up dying. First of all, I didn't even know that this was going on. I would have liked to see more of that. The blending of themes in this movie is very well done as well. There are so many different musical elements to combine in this movie, and I think that was done very well because I didn't notice it. When the music is bad, I usually notice it. So the fact that I didn't notice it, I think is a good thing. I'll have to pay more attention to that when I see it again. Overall, I'm going to give this film 4 stars. It's not my favorite movie. I've liked other movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a little bit better. The villain, though, is top-notch. I think the way that they set up the stakes with the villain is very well done, but the amount of characters that are in this is just too much. And while there are a lot of great moments, I think this film serves as a reminder as to why you don't put this many characters in one movie, because it just feels like too much to follow, even for someone like me that loves these movies and watches a lot of them. I do recommend it, though. It's a lot of fun. I didn't feel that it was boring or slow at all. So if you had the chance to check it out in the theater, definitely do so. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like it. If movie reviews are your thing, or if you like videos about gear or technology or other types of geekery, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. I am Smith Timmy Tim. Till next time, have an awesome day. Bye.